Welcome to the season premiere of The Deep Dive with 9thwunder magazine. I'm one of your hosts, Natalie Stone.
And I'm your co-host, Ryan Cole. This podcast will be your go-to podcast for deep dives into special people and brands. And we started off with the founder of 9thwunder magazine himself, Blaze Hunter.
That's right. We are kicking this season off by looking at a really significant shift for Blaze Hunter. For the last few years, he's been known mostly as the architect,
A guy behind the curtain?
Exactly. Building systems, building infrastructure. But 2026 seems to be the year he's stepping back onto the stage, back into a spotlight he really seemed to be avoiding for a while.
It's a fascinating move.
Yeah.
And I think to really get it, we have to start with the title he uses for himself. The Confluencer.
Okay, the Confluencer.
Yeah, and it's not just some fancy CEO title. It's meant to define his specific place at a meeting point.
A convergence of what?
Of being a creator and an executive, of art and the actual infrastructure that supports it.
So let's unpack that first part then, that architect era. From 2020 on, it really looks like he deliberately took a step back from his own art.
Oh, completely. His strategy was all about building sustainable platforms for other people, while everyone else was chasing, the next viral moment for themselves.
He was building the tracks for the train.
That's a perfect way to put it. The framework, the business models, everything needed for independent voices to really thrive, not just survive.
And that's the core of the Confluencer model then.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's about blending creativity and commerce, not for himself at first, but for the community. I mean, the goal wasn't just releasing records, it was releasing careers.
That takes a kind of patience you don't really see a lot in this industry.
It really does. To put your own work on hold to amplify someone else. But now, the thinking is that the infrastructure he built is strong enough for him to test it himself. He's stepping onto the stage he engineered.
Which brings us to the big question. Why now? This wasn't some sudden decision on January 1st. You can actually see the spark reigniting late in 2025 with two specific singles.
Yes, and what's so smart about these tracks is how they act as bridges. They connect his own musical history with the modern sound he's been helping other artists create. The first one was Solo 2.
A Latin pop and freestyle track.
Right. And the key detail here, the thing that makes it so intentional, is the collaboration.
He worked with an 80s freestyle legend, Jaquan.
From Latin Rhythm and Nasty Boys, I mean, that's an iconic name in that world.
So it's more than just a feature.
It's a statement. It's not just nostalgia. He took that classic energy, that freestyle rhythm and vocal intensity, and gave it this really modern production polish. It's honoring the past without treating it like a museum piece.
A very sophisticated move for someone making a return.
For sure. And then there was the second track, Pump It Up.
Which people started calling the Millennial Slang Anthem.
It was. It started as a thing to support the influencer, Corey Carter, and his whole millennial slang movement. But the song itself is just a masterclass in, coded language.
It's totally built on that if you know principle.
Completely. It's all shared cultural shorthand, and it never stops to explain itself.
Okay, but let me push back on that a little. Is there a risk there? By leaning so hard into these really specific things, like knowing about orange soda love or having drank from the hose
or knowing how to pump your Reeboks.
Right. Doesn't that kind of limit the song's reach? Doesn't it shut out anyone who wasn't there for that?
That's a really good question, and I think it gets to the heart of modern marketing. In a world of algorithms, you're not always aiming for shallow mass appeal.
You're aiming for depth.
Exactly. The strategy is about creating instant, deep recognition with a core group. It's translating a shared identity into rhythm and bounce. The song finds you, and that creates a loyalty that's, frankly, way more valuable than a generic hit.
A deep niche is better than a wide, shallow one.
That's the idea. And that focus on authenticity, on recognition, you can feel it pulling him back toward performance.
And looking back, this isn't him trying on a new hat. The stage has always been part of his DNA. We have to look at this history to understand the 2026 move.
You really do.
Yeah.
His performance background it's extensive, and it shows why he's ready for this now.
Let's just look at the early 2000s. In 2003, he's opening for Nelly.
At Sunfest in West Palm Beach. I mean, think about that. That's a massive festival stage.
And then later that same year, he's on stage with guys like Trick Daddy, Trina, and Fat Joe in Miami.
Yeah, at Bayfront. And those are two totally different skills.
Yeah.
Opening for a global star like Nelly is one thing, but connecting with a regional powerhouse crowd in Miami that teaches you adaptability under pressure.
It hardens you, the performer.
Absolutely. And it didn't stop. By 2008, he's on the road with Ludacris, Willie North Pole, and Shoddy Low.
The dub tour.
Yeah, from Charlotte to Atlanta. And that teaches you something else entirely, the grind, the consistency you need to deliver night after night. It proves he understands the business of being a live artist.
Then he goes international. This is the part I find really interesting. In 2010, he opens for Mario in the Netherlands.
At MECC Maastricht for No Pijstoop, the new decade.
Wow.
It just shows you the longevity,
Yeah.
spanning decades and continents. So when he got back on stage recently, the fan reaction wasn't just nostalgia. It was like a remembrance of the performer he's always been. It validated that pull to create for himself again.
So with all that history as a foundation, the new chapter officially kicks off. We have the new single, Blah, 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 dropping on Friday, January 9th, 2026.
And he's got international artist Quashana on the track with him.
The title alone, Blah, 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 seems to set a tone.
It does. From what we understand, the theme is all about filtering out the noise, the doubt, and just moving with confidence. His team is very clear about this.
It's a continuation, not a comeback.
Exactly. He's not trying to recapture something. He's building on the foundation he just spent 4 years laying.
And what's really striking is, even as he's doing this for himself, he's still all in on the Confluencer mission. He's still building up other artists.
And this is where the whole model gets validated in real time. Let's just look at 2 quick examples. First, Queen Rage.
Okay.
Blaze didn't just give her advice. He personally wrote and produced her first songs. And here's the metric that matters today. After releasing only 2 songs, she's already been booked and paid for multiple live shows.
Wow, that's incredibly fast. Why is that specific data point, getting paid for gigs so early, so important for people to understand?
Because it's the ultimate proof of concept. Artists today can have tons of streams and still make almost nothing. Queen Rage's success shows that intentional writing and a real-world performance strategy can bypass that whole low-revenue problem and move an artist directly into monetization.
Right into the high-margin world of live shows.
That's it. It's a powerful argument for human development over just, throwing stuff at the algorithm.
And what we're seeing is something similar with Mimela Fliger, right? Her debut track got over 1,000 streams on Spotify pretty quickly.
Which might not sound like a huge number, but for a brand new artist in a saturated market, getting that initial organic traction is huge. It shows the writing and the targeting worked. It connected.
Authentic connection cutting through the noise.
Yeah.
And speaking of noise and volume, we have to touch on the elephant in the room for all creators right now, AI. Blaze's position on this is really interesting. We understand he has no personal issue with AI. He sees it as a tool.
Right. It's a permanent part of the creative ecosystem. He gets that. But he's also hearing the frustration from the community, from the skilled beat makers and songwriters who feel like their craft is just getting drowned
out by the sheer volume of content that can be generated instantly.
Exactly. The fear isn't that AI is evil. It's that human originality will just get buried.
So his response isn't to fight the tech.
It's to counterbalance it. He's doubling down on the human craft, committing to creating original human-made beats and fully written songs. It's an act of preservation, really.
It's proof that human creativity still has a weight, a texture that you can't just generate.
That's the so what, making sure the soul of the music doesn't get lost in the algorithm.
And that expansion of his own art is happening alongside a bigger media expansion in 2026. He's launching Blaze It Up Radio Freestyle.
Yeah, a whole new extension focusing specifically on 1980s Latin freestyle culture, which is so smart culturally.
How so?
Well, he's creating a space for a dialogue between the pioneers who built that genre and the new generation carrying it forward. It's a curated platform for a sound that mainstream algorithms often just ignore.
He's also moving into acting.
Adding another layer.
Yeah.
He's making his on-screen debut in its 6-episode web series called Renegades.
Created by Caesar Cypher. So this return to the spotlight isn't just about music. It's a full-on expansion of his creative work.
And I think that's the final point. Him stepping forward isn't an abandonment of the community he built. It's a validation of his whole philosophy. A leader has to stay sharp. By stepping back in the arena, he's showing everyone he can navigate the challenges of the world he helped create. He's going deeper into the culture.
And I think for you, the listener, the thing to really think about is that transition. What does it mean to go from being the quiet architect to stepping back out into the public square? How do you balance that external mission, serving your community, with the need to refuel your own passion? That balance, I think that's the ongoing challenge of the Confluencer.
To stay caught up with Blaze Hunter, be sure to visit blazehunter9thwunder.com or follow him on Instagram at BH9thwunder.
Make sure you subscribe and catch the deep dive with 9th Wonder Magazine by 9th Wonder Cast on YouTube, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. This is Natalie Stone and Ryan Cole. We'll see you next time. Be blessed.